Right. Welcome to the April 25th Eclipse OpenJ9 community call. As always, if you can add your name and affiliation to the attendee list so we have some idea of who's been joining, that would be appreciated. And we've got the usual agenda before us. If you've got something you want to add in, please chime in or add it to the any other business section. So I'll pause if somebody wants to jump in. Okay. We don't have a lightning talk, so we will skip over that, but if you do have one you want to give, reach out to me, we'll get it set up. Let's take a look at the recent end user issues. I see that there is an issue that's been raised. I think this has been raised before past. So I'm not sure what the state on that is. We'll just pop that open for a second. All right, so this has been assigned to the release, so we'll take a look at that. I raised a thread get state scalability issue that came out of the Netty community. They've been using get state and found that it was severely limiting the scalability. So they've worked around it for now, but I suspect that others may run into the same kind of scalability issue. So a couple of JIT issues have been raised. Seems to be some discussion here on them. A crash as well. A no class def found has come in with AOT methods. Another JIT crash. And then I believe we looked at the deadlock last week. Is there any of these that came in this week that we need to talk about or need some extra focus? Looks like for the most part, they're getting some level of discussion. Okay, then we'll jump back to the agenda. So the 038 builds, looks like the 038 release. We're waiting on the Semaru RC1 build.
So there's still an open issue that's in the milestone plan that needs to be resolved before we start RC1.
Ah, okay. I don't recall this being there earlier today. So
yeah, I think it was just added. It we knew it was outstanding, but it wasn't in the milestone plan. So
so we're compiling an entirely new copy of the interpreter for this. Okay.
Basically, there's a performance regression that this is supposed to fix.
Okay.
But we're not sure this is the right fix yet.
What's the footprint implication of this? Because this is going to be another copy of the interpreter running around.
Yeah, I don't know if Jason's on the call. Can you paste the numbers from the internal issue?
Yeah.
To this PR?
Sure. I can find out.
So just as background, when we originally made the changes, all testing was done on JDK 17, and we did not see a regression there. But on JDK 11, we are seeing a regression. So I'm going to take another look at the differences between JDK 17 and 11. I did a test turning on method handles for the OpenJDK method handle implementation on JDK 11, and it didn't seem to make a difference. So there must be something else between JDK 11 and 17 that's causing this issue. Ultimately, what's happening is that the additional checks are causing the compiler to be very conservative when compiling the bytecode interpreter. And that's really where the performance regression is coming from. It's not really from the runtime checks. It's just that the generated code is less optimal.
We do use different compilers, I think, for 11 and 17, don't we? I'll double check.
Okay.
Yeah, the sorry, just looking at these numbers. Do we have footprint numbers as well with the extra bytecode interpreter copy? Because that might be the other place where we'll trip over things, is that we'll be shipping bigger libraries.
Currently in the test mode from instant on, I don't see the non-CRU build test perfect result here. I'm looking at the snack.
So it should be fairly easy to see a difference if we just look at the libj9 VM and compare. Or is it more complicated than that?
The question is whether the code gets loaded or not.
So you're looking at runtime footprint.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
So for Java 17, we use GCC 10.3, and for 11, it's 7.5. So that could be the difference.
Okay. So let me make a note of that.
All right, so this is the only issue then that's holding up the release of 038.
Yeah. Is there anything stopping us from using the same compiler levels on 38?
No,
Okay.
just very last minute change, but we are
Yeah.
using that level for 17 and has been tested for 17 and with no issues found. So
It's kind of a scary point at which to change the compilers, though.
Yeah, I'm thinking more of the July release.
Okay.
Yeah, so the way I see it, worst case, we'll go with this change, but I would like to not have this long term. So if a compiler upgrade is going to solve it for us, then I think that's something I want to look at for July.
Okay. Do we have an idea of when we'll have this resolved so we can get the release out?
Yeah, so I've said end of day. I'm going to see what else. I'm going to do some more investigation to see if there's anything else that we can do to reduce this gap. That PR is our fallback solution if I don't find anything.
Okay.
Also, Dan, the footprint numbers that Jason posted, they are RSS.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Anything else that we need to touch on for 038? All right. The Java 19 builds. Do we have an idea when the summary builds will be available?
I think when we're ready for 038, we can put out Java 19 about the same time.
Okay. Okay. Or Java 20 .0.1 or the 039. Looks like we have 10 issues open here. So I guess looking at that, we're targeting May probably for a branch.
Yeah, I didn't branch yet. Turns out that even though 20.01 was released, our acceptance build didn't run. So we haven't actually taken the 20.01 code yet. So that's running now.
Okay. All right, so we don't have a good sense of where we are there yet either then.
I
Hopefully
still think
there's-
we should branch soon. So let's try for next week.
All right. Probably not worth going through each of these items at this point. But if you do own one of these, please try and get these closed out. All right. Anything else we want to say for the Java 20 release? All right. And the 040 release, that release plan is fairly large. We have a bit of time for that, but given the set of issues here, we probably want to get on these as fast as we can.
It seemed to jump up by quite a bit. I'm not sure why. Maybe there's been a lot of user raised issues recently.
Yeah, it does look like in the last week, a large number of user raised issues came in. So. All right. Anything else we want to touch on for releases? Okay. I don't think it's worth talking about 21 at this point. So why don't we jump to the adopt update? Do we have anyone who wants to give an update there? Okay. Adam, is there an update on machines?
A few things. So the Windows machines, the perf seems to be a bit better on them these days. So we're going to look at getting rid of the old ones. We'll have to get a few more new ones because we're still not able to get through on the 10. We're looking at 13. There's also a security issue that's forcing us to disable RDP. So we're going to have to look at how we access those in other ways, and then we'll have to relay that info to adopt as well. I see Stuart's on the call. There's a website issue with the build, so we can't update the website right now. So we have to investigate that. And then there's a Mac machine issue. Hopefully Reboot will solve that one. And then there's another issue with a Windows, can't clean the workspace. That needs some investigation as well.
Okay. Any questions for Adam? All right, thanks, Adam. Just checking if Marius is on the call to see if there's an update for JIT server. I don't see him. Okay. That likely applies to microJIT as well. Toby, is there other items to talk about for CRIU?
No, nothing yet. We did a April release last Friday, and which is basically the head stream for 0.38. So the early access container images have been updated to that level. In the next couple of weeks, we're going to be looking at the new items we want for July. So there'll be more to talk about then. One thing we should probably add is Valhalla, as there is talks of getting a preview in for JDK 21 potentially. So I think that's something we'd want to track. Hung is leading that effort. I'm not sure if he's on the call today, but actually I see him there, yeah.
Okay. Anything else we want to mention around that Valhalla work?
So yeah, it looks like what is going to be released is the value objects work, which is a subset of the overall value types, what was originally envisioned with value types. So this is just non-identity types these are nullable, so we're not talking about heap flattening here. So it looks like the prototype has all the functionality for this JEP currently. I think we're missing some work to recognize the preload attribute, but likely we won't need it because we don't do any calling convention optimizations at the moment. So for the most part, it's a matter of refactoring our existing implementation to separate out the flattenable stuff from the non-identity stuff so that we can turn on one without turning on both. And that's likely all we will need if this goes in for preview in 21.
Okay.
There's also, I expect there'll be tests and stuff that will be added. So there's also that angle that we'll have to monitor.
Okay.
API changes and the like. Yeah.
Thanks, Toby. Is there an update on the Mac Silicon, Daryl?
Nothing this week.
Okay. Any other business we want to touch on today? All right, then we'll call this here. Thanks, everyone. The next one of these calls will be on May the 2nd.
Thank you.